So there's been some pretty groundbreaking news today. And if there's one thing I can't stand, it's when a lot of these old timers, all right, we're talking maybe you're above 40, maybe above 60, doesn't matter, but trying to argue with the younger generation about what the minimum wage should be, okay? And this is the most annoying, just shitty argument I've ever heard. When people talk about, well, back in my day, I was making $2 an hour. I'm sure you were. But back in your day, a loaf of bread was 25 cents. All right, nowadays, a loaf of bread's $2. Okay, so the minimum wage needs to go up. And the issue is, what you used to be able to buy with your minimum wage paychecks back in the day is nowhere close to what you're able to buy with your minimum wage paychecks today. When you work at a place like McDonald's and you bust yo ass. Now, I've never worked at McDonald's, but it looks like those guys are doing quite a bit of shit. And you're busting your ass and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Why should you take home $8 an hour? Why should that be your base pay? You know, are you gonna really survive off of $300 a week working at McDonald's, full time, busting your ass 40 hours, dealing with the corporate bullshit? I don't think that's a feasible amount to pay someone. And before people start saying, well, you know, that's the job, that's $8 an hour, that's all they deserve. Well, you guys do realize that when these people make $8 an hour and they got 4 kids and 3 baby daddies and everything else, guess who pays for their wages? Us, the taxpayers. The taxpayers gotta pay for their shit. So when people are on EBT because they can't afford food because they're not making enough money, when people are sitting there and they're on welfare programs and Section 8 housing and the government's funding it, guess who pays for that shit? Everybody else. So if these companies would stop being greedy pieces of shit and just pay people a living wage, we wouldn't need so many people on food stamps. We wouldn't need so many people on welfare programs. Those are for people, in my opinion, that either can't work or, people that maybe, they've been misplaced, their job, they lost it, something happened, whatever, and they're on that program. But there is no need for someone working 40 hours a week to be on any type of welfare or assistance program. It's bullshit, okay? Because the companies aren't paying these people enough to survive. Those jobs exist for a reason. Look, if someone doesn't scrub, the 1,000 toilets in a corporate building, them toilets is gonna start to stink. Someone's not gonna want to take a dump in them, all right? So these jobs exist because they need to exist. They have a purpose. Whether or not you think scrubbing a toilet requires much skill, it doesn't. No one cares. At the end of the day, the job exists for a reason. If someone's working that job, they deserve a living wage. It's not a hard concept to understand. And I'm not talking about increasing the minimum wage. I'm talking about doing what Jeff Bezos and Amazon did today. The minimum wage is not $15 an hour. But he said, you know what? My company's making buku dollars. My employees are working hard. They're busting their ass. Everybody's going to get this $15 minimum wage. That's what my company is going to deliver. So he made a statement by doing that. And I wish other companies would look and do the same thing, because honestly and truthfully, companies need to pay a living wage. And like I said, when I say living, I don't mean living when you're on welfare programs and EBT and you're making $500 a month in food stamps. That is not a living wage. Okay, you need to make enough from your job to support yourself. And if you can't make enough from your job to support yourself and you have to be on those programs, then those companies should be not sued necessarily, but they should be penalized. That, in my opinion, would get companies all over the place to start increasing the wage and paying people livable amounts. If you penalize these companies for not paying people livable wages, well, they're going to start paying people livable wages because they don't want all their workers on EBT and welfare and everything else, and they don't want to get penalized and pay these fines. So that would get companies to kind of like change their tone and actually start to pay people what they're worth. Because you may not think a roofer is, worth $18 an hour. I don't. I think they're worth more than that. But these companies have got to pay these people more than that. McDonald's worker, $8 an hour. I think they're worth a little more than that. Maybe 10, maybe 11. It is what it is. They need to make more money to support themselves. If they can't make enough money to support themselves and they're on these programs, people like me who make decent money end up paying for their shit anyways, which is bullshit because I ain't McDonald's. I ain't, millions and billions of dollars of just saved up capital and everything else. I don't have that. But McDonald's does. So you best believe McDonald's better start paying their damn workers what they're worth. Hopefully you guys consider what's been going on and understand that these minimum wage laws exist for a reason. They exist to pay people a livable wage, and that, at the end of the day, companies have got to start paying people a little more money. It ain't got to be anything drastic, but if your company's doing well, reward the damn workers. They're the ones making your company run. So anyways, that is all I got for today's video, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe. Other than that, that's all I got.